What is up, everybody? It is Wizaldo or Wesley, and today I am playing a deck that I am super psyched to try out in the OP 16.5 meta in RG Luffy. Now, if you don't know, I actually got my Nats invite at a 100-person store championship on RG Luffy, so I have at least some credibility when it comes to talking about this deck. I don't think I'm the end-all be-all for the deck list, but I think this deck list is feeling pretty good, and I think it will continue to feel good depending on the meta in OP 16. I think we'll see a little bit more red Luffy, a little bit more purple Katakuri, a whole lot more Mihawk. I think Mihawk is going to be the roughest matchup for this, but I think it has a really good matchup into Nami and into Goofy as well. Stay tuned for a video on Goofy if you're interested in that. Anyways, into the deck list, you get two major new cards that I think really do affect how the deck plays. This 1000 Sunny card and this new Luffy card. Before, the deck would struggle into Enel because you would have no way to easily remove the Enel body, but I think with this Luffy, you have a body to both swing into the Enel, the 6 cost, and reduce its power, so it's actually an effective body swing. And having another big body that is searchable, I think is going to be a lot more effective for the deck. One of the things I do want to call out is this Garp. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Now that the deck is nearly entirely searchable, the only things that aren't searchable are Luna, and that's what the Garp is kind of here for. It might be an angle where we pivot from the Garp to maybe the Nami and cut these Lunas down to 0 and bump up the I Know You're Strong event to 4. But I wanted the Lunas at 4 because they feel a little bit more impactful, and in this deck you do typically have a ton of counter. But into the list, you run 4 Bonnie, 4 Garp, those are your searchers, as well as the 4000 Sunny. This deck is insane thanks to this card. For 2Ks, you're going to run 2 Sanji and 2 Laboon. Laboon helps in the Nami matchup, makes it hard for them to remove your board. You really do struggle if you do not be keeping your board. And the Sanji is really good for ending out the game, especially when combined with the Brook that you run all 2 of as well. For top end, you're going to run the Zoro and the Luffy, both 7 costs. I have them both at 3. These ratios might be good to play around with, like the Zoro might be able to go down to 2 and the Luffy to 4, or maybe we cut something else out from the deck and bump these up to 4, or maybe they both go down to 2. It really just depends on how the meta looks. You're going to run 4 Laboon, like I mentioned, 4 Usopp and 4 Sanji for your Donri standers and good bodies. This Usopp is now really good because if you turn 1 or turn 2 search, depending on your curve, with the 1000 Sunny, you now have a reason to just put down this Usopp, especially when you have 4 Don, because you'll be able to attach it onto your leader anyways. We're on 4 Nami and 4 Luna. This is a really strong combo when combined. For Luffy, this is one of the reasons that the Nami matchup is pretty strong, and especially now that it's searchable with 12 cards in the deck, I really don't think that you'll have any issues finding it. 2 Brook, like I mentioned before, 1 Dead Man's Game just for another, your opponent has blockers or a ton of Don up. This is a good way to get through some of that Don, some of those blockers. 3 Charleston. I know a lot of people like Charleston at 4, but the amount of searching the deck has, it gets a little bit more consistent. This is like a math thing. I'm not like just saying that. I know it's unsearchable, but there is some like weird math stuff where the more you search, the more likely you are to see a Charleston. 4 Luna, like I mentioned, and 4 Sunny. Now, this list I think feels very fun. It's a really good place to start. I think we don't really know what the meta is going to look like in 16.5. I think we're about a month away from really seeing some 16.5 action, but this is where I'm going to be starting with the list, and I think this is feeling pretty good so far. I've played a couple games on this list and tweaked a few things. Like before, I was on 3 Usopp and 4 of the Zoro, but I think these being at 3 feels good. But if you are just here for the list, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. If you notice, I got a new webcam. It's not just a webcam, it's also a recording cam, so shout out to Manoli and Ace Bunny for helping me pick it out and being confident in my purchase. But hopefully it looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty sick, and hopefully I'll make more content with it, so subscribe if you're interested in seeing that. And yeah, anyways, on to the gameplay now. All right, this will be a pretty interesting early game. I'm playing into a Krieg. They chose second. I think that's good for me, honestly. I do want, I think, these bodies that are a little bit bigger in this matchup. I also can think about, okay, do I want to control the board in this matchup, keep their board clear? I think I keep this just because I have a turn 1 search. And I grab a 1000 Sunny off of that. 1000 Sunny is probably the best card that this deck saw out of the starter decks, so pretty good card. Okay, right now I think I just kind of search. I want to grab some top end. I searched past 2 Lunas at this point. That's pretty rough. I think I grab a Nami or a Zoro. I think I'm gonna grab the Zoro. Maybe I just go big, swing at my opponent. Going second, I don't really know what Krieg has. I think a lot of their plays are even. I have no 5 Don play, but I think I'm gonna deploy this. and grab a Sanji or an Usopp. Sanji's gonna feel a lot better in this matchup, I think. I can just go 6 at life, and they just take that, and they get a trigger to draw 1 card. So right now, I do have to be a little bit conscious about how big they're gonna swing at me. So that Arlong means they're probably going to swing a 6. Maybe I would kind of expect them to swing a 7 by popping one of those. Oh, I see. I thought I read it wrong. Thought they could give it to their leader. All right, now here, you need to just think about kind of developing board, do this, and I'm just gonna keep swinging 6s at my opponent's leader, and eventually I'm just gonna try and clear their board, maybe clear the Arlong, or if they aren't really keeping pace with me, I just go for life continuously. This Morgan's gonna be kind of rough to deal with just because it does, oh, and they concede. Okay, I don't know if this is a great matchup for the Krieg. Interesting that they didn't play the Jin here. I think that was probably what got them to concede. Anyways, I'll play another game, of course. But I felt like that was going pretty good. I do think Krieg has a lot of potential that people aren't seeing, so we'll see if it really changes anything. But yeah, not using a Jin there is kind of insane, and probably why they conceded. All right, I'm playing a red Luffy. They're gonna take first, which makes it really important for me to see a Usopp and stage in my opening hand. This Garp cannot search stage, so I'm gonna just mulligan. This did not get much better. That's actually a much worse hand. I probably should have kept the first hand. It was very greedy, I guess. I'm gonna grab a Zoro, meaning next turn they probably, maybe they search again. I just passed this first turn, try and keep it 2k up. I could just 2k out, like use the 1 Don for 2k and 2k with Laboon. It really depends on what happens this turn. This Thousand Sunny, bonkers. All right, they grab a Luffy. They could play a searcher, another searcher, but it looks like they're just gonna swing 8. Yeah, and I think I can take here, considering that they don't have much on the field. Although there is definitely an argument to not take there, especially considering how my hand is looking. Next turn, I can assume they're gonna swing a 7 and a 6, or a 7 and a 7 because of Thousand Sunny. So maybe think about getting rid of this Brook, but this is a pretty rough game, pretty rough draws. Definitely should have kept that first hand. But I assume we're gonna see either the Luffy or the Zoro hit the field at this point. I definitely want to do a video on Gear 5 Luffy too, but I am not sure how I feel about the deck list. There's a lot of fun stuff happening right now with it. There is the weird kind of flood the board and like draw a few cards deck, and then there's the, I think, marginally stronger draw cards and play characters out deck. We could count on a misplay here, but I don't think that's a good idea. I think we'll just have to, yeah, count out of 2 7s. Out of this first one, and then I think I'll just use the Brook here. They don't have a ton of blockers, and I'm not too concerned about it. It might have been better to use Laboon there because Laboon is never being used in this matchup, but I'm gonna keep swinging 6s. I don't think the list runs a lot of 2Ks, so I think by just swinging 6s early, like 6s and 8s, I'm gonna be able to get a lot from my opponent. This turn they could drop a Luffy. I think next turn I don't want to drop the Luffy. Probably could have dropped the Sanji that turn, but I think I just drop it this turn anyways and try and keep more Don up. I'm just trying to play as defensive as possible because my opponent is getting some real crazy aggro on right now. Right now they're able to move 4 Don every turn. That's an extra 4k power, which is pretty scary. We're gonna see 7 and 8. I'm gonna definitely counter out of with the Don. We could see 7 8 7 7. I think honestly my best bet to survive is using Charleston here to restand some Don. I will pitch this Luffy, or give my leader that, pitch this Luffy, restand 3 Don, and then this way I can counter out of both swings. My opponent's smart, they just won't swing, or maybe they'll just swing with their leader. Interesting. All right, well, I can counter out of these. I don't necessarily think this is a great matchup just because their bodies are kind of hard to remove. I do think in this case, I should probably try to just keep control of the board here. Playing the Luffy out might have been better, but I get 1 Don back here, so I can attach 1 and swing a 6 at this. Start trying to get cards out of hand. Yeah. Do I want to swing an 8 into this Luffy? I think it's my best bet at surviving at this point, just because they're starting to get a little bit ahead. This next turn, they could play the 7 cost Luffy, which would be pretty rough. So we get rid of that. I have counter out for like 6 Don being attached, but I'm gonna assume they play something with Rush this turn. I think that's the real strength of this Luffy, is that it does get Rush, and that's a little bit harder in this list. So okay, they're gonna just remove this Luffy. I think rough for me. Sorry, if I see a Luna, if they play something strong here, it would be pretty good, but I wouldn't count on it. What did they play other than this Aesop Luffy? How did they get 2 rested down there? Using I could counter out here actually. I don't think it's a bad idea to counter out. because if they then want to play something and swing into this again, yeah, that's a little bit rough. They can move to Don. Like if they want to remove this Luffy, they have to commit a swing to it, and I could just take a life if they want to swing it at me. Yeah, I just counter out here and like force them to swing into this Luffy again, because they still can move to Don. I don't think they used leader effect, and if they'd used leader effect and added it to the Nami, that would have been pretty strong and kind of scary for me. Here I think I just drop this and swing an 8 at this Luffy. I don't think I swing at life at all here. I think if they defend this Luffy, okay, I think I swing at this Zoro just to get it off the board. Like I have some Don that I can use to defend myself, and they have 4 cards in hand, so they're not guaranteed to have a play here. I assume they do, yeah. Even if it's just like a chopper, like that's better for me than leaving that Zoro out on the board. Now they do have a defensive play, but it's not like that good for them. Next turn, I probably just play this Luffy out and play with my Don. I could also play the Rush Luffy. I think at this point, it's not a great idea because I don't restand many Don and I don't have stage out. This is a pretty rough draw game for me, honestly. Does not feel great. Gonna rest and, oh, they didn't have any Don, so they couldn't, okay. A little bit of an unfortunate misplay by my opponent. If they had given a Don, they would have had an extra 1k to swing with. But I think I just continue to swing at their board here. It is pretty easy to starve these Luffys because they play out of their hand so much. I think with the lists that draw a lot more cards, with the Jinbei and the Sanji, I mean, both, all of the X run the Sanji, but I'm not sure if the this deck is running the Jinbei. They keep a much bigger hand size. It's a lot harder to deal with. Shout out Colin for running this against me earlier. So I have the matchup knowledge. Okay, so this is gonna get removed for sure. No, it's not. They forgot to attach it on. We'll see if they play this out, but I defend that 100%. They can attach it on and then like 7-7. One of them 100% goes into the Sanji and clears it, but it's like I just continue swinging into the Zoro. They'll be at 1 card in hand. This gets cleared. And the Zoro shouldn't swing if my opponent's playing smart, but they're gonna swing. I'll go up to 11 there. I could rest the chopper, but I think it's better for me to just play this out. And I mean, I could play out the Brook to rest it still. No, I can't. I can't play out a bigger body. So at this point, I think I just go like 7 at this, then 10 at life. Okay, they do have a play. It's good for them. They shouldn't be able to touch me at all at this point. I have a pretty solid board built up. It's going to be hard to remove without one of these Luffys, and we'll see if they have it. It might honestly be worth it to just do it back to them. They are getting all of their Zoros at this point. It might be worth it to just drop this as a body that gets developed and like clearing the Zoro or something. At this point though, it's like kind of just sitting in my hand. Maybe I like take a life to try and deal with some stuff, but let's see. They have 6 Don up, already +1, so they have 2 Don being used. Okay, they have not a lot of Don up. They're just letting me starve them, which is pretty rough, I think. I don't know if I ever swing into the Sanji. It's an 8 right now, a 9, 10. I just counter out of this. I don't think the Zoro can swing. They played it this turn and they just gave the Don to the Sanji. Maybe they're not swinging with this Zoro because they have no play for it, which makes sense. I think I grabbed this Sanji so I can start attaching Don to get like some crazy stuff off. Still play this and rest to try and starve. I think that's a valid play here. Start with I'll start with a big swing into the Zoro, which is the main thing that I want to clear here. And then I'll do a 6 into the chopper. I don't really care about the chopper that much. Do they have a play? They do not have a play, which is good for me. And I'll do a 6 into there. I can do an 8 at life. See if they block it. It's a double attack, so it's going to put them down to 1. And yeah, they block, and then I end turn, and then I can restand 5 Don total. And I'm in a pretty good spot at this point. Next turn I can drop this Luffy if they like drop their own Luffy and go to clear something. Like I think I just keep this Luffy to counter their Luffy basically, but I should have lethal this turn. I think starving this Gear 5 Luffy is going to be its biggest weakness. If it becomes meta, I think starve is going to be the strat a lot of decks take on, just because if they don't see those draw cards, it's so rough for them. It is a red deck after all. Anyways, let me know what you think of the new setup. I don't like the angle of the camera. I do like, it's a DJI Osmo 3 and I can see myself on it, so it feels like I'm actually talking to somebody whenever I use it. One of my things that I think is really cool about it is that it does have like facial tracking stuff, but it does not have that while it's plugged in and being used as a webcam. So maybe I look into trying to figure out how to do that, because then it's like I could go into the background, like you'd still follow me. Watch this. I think I just give the Don here. Like they just wasted 5 Don to do that. They do it again I can just take. It doesn't get them anything, which sucks for them. I could just go 7 at life here, then 9 at life, and another 9 at life. And that's lethal. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that was a pretty rough game for my opponent. Honestly, not super high quality games right now, but I also do think, you know, pretty high caliber player on RG or something. Nothing too great with this Luffy. I'm not sure. I think it's gonna feel better as just something to drop and swing your other stuff into it. And if you get it to have the rush, then it's like it's a bonus, but it's not really there for the rush maybe. But I'll get one more in just because I have the time and I want this video to be a little bit longer. All right, playing into a Katakuri. This is one of the matchups I'm a little bit more worried for because Katakuri is going to be able to go a lot bigger than me with those like 10 cost big moms if they can chain them. And then I'm gonna keep this, by the way. I can 1000 Sunny into Usopp. It's like the dream, you know, into Sanji after. My battery is low on my mouse, by the way. And I can rest this. That was the noise that just was heard. Maybe I'll plug it in real quick. Is it the wrong thing? I'm just gonna take. I'm fine with them spending their entire turn to do that. I can deploy this. I think I do need to turn the Usopp sideways in this matchup just because the Katakuri is going to be able to like stay healthy for so long. Maybe the what's it called, Luffy is going to be good in this matchup, the double attack one, but they're getting to their big bodies very quickly. And yeah, just a little pretty scary. They have a 7k swing. I don't think it's necessarily right for me to swing with the Usopp on this turn. I think I just need to whittle them down and then hopefully I can clear whatever they play this coming turn with this Luffy, but wouldn't count on it. Do I want to search again? I think I'm down to search again just because I can free up a Don. I probably should have garped instead of done that, but gotta play for next turn. And then yeah, I don't want to swing with the Usopp this turn because it's probably just going to get cleared by the Katakuri. Depending on what my opponent plays, I might have the Don to just protect it, but my opponent is at 8 Don right now, which if they okay, they just dropped the 8 cost. So I probably should have turned the Usopp sideways, but I did not, unfortunately. I was worried about a play that left Don up that would allow them to remove the Usopp, but I guess that was not really all that valid. I'll get another one of these out, and now that this is out, I can pretty comfortably get this Luffy off when I hit 10 Don next turn, and I think I can search with this as well. And I can grab another Sanji. Rested Don. I can restand 4 Don at the end of my turn, but I can only attach 2, so I'll go 7, 8, I think. Yeah, block that one, probably for the best. I go 8 here, and then I might turn the Usopp sideways. I don't think I do, just because it does let me get this Luffy off much better. Because then I can leave up 1 Don and get all of my Don back the next turn when I drop it. Like, it'll be effective to just like drop this Luffy and give this minus cost. Although it sounds like my Sanji's gonna get removed this turn. This Lin coming out, they're at 4 life. That's pretty rough. At this point in the game, I would want them way lower than that. They probably swing like a 7 into it. I mean, I could defend it, but I think I want to defend my life way more. If I don't defend it, I can just counter out of these next swings. They're at 8 Don. Yeah, they turn it sideways, but it's like, I'm over countering here a bunch, but it doesn't really matter. I can drop the Luffy this turn and give this -5. And now, like, my swings are pretty effective. I restand, what, 3 Don at the end of the turn? So I need to keep 2 up. I'll just go 2 7s. Actually, if I attach it on, I can get another swing in. I think I go 7, 8, and 9, which these swings, again, probably would have been a lot more effective if I had a extra, what's it called out? An extra Luffy out instead of one of the Sanjis. Mamaragans. Okay, wow. Got a lot of cards out of hand there. Pretty confident in this swing. I honestly, depending on what they do here, might follow up with a 6k swing. I think I just give it a 5. Like, they can board clear me here pretty rough, but I keep them down low cards in hand. And if I can keep the Usopp and the Sanji on the board, I can just drop another one of these Luffys and kind of do that whole thing again. If not, I can think about Brook. I want to defend this as much as possible because if I defend it now, it probably gets another big swing into it. I just let this go. Whatever this Lin was going to swing into is going to clear. Probably for the best that it wasn't into this Luffy. Defend this, which is pretty nice. They probably drop another Lin and then heal and clear this Luffy. So we'll see what I actually end up doing here. I'm definitely gonna have to think about it. Oh no. Okay, interesting. I don't have a 2k here. It's probably gonna be a 7k actually, which maybe I should have thought about Charles Stoning some of these earlier swings. That goes through. Pudding is pretty rough because it's probably another Katakuri coming out. Yeah, and the only way for me to get through those Katakuris are with a Nami, and they can restand their entire board at this point. I think Katakuri, I did come into this thinking Katakuri was going to be a rougher matchup, for the record. I think the way I end it now is just by like resting the Katakuri blockers and kind of just wailing on face with, I did not have to do that. Gotta have that. Wailing on face as much as I can. So if I can get them down to like 1 at this point, we might be good, but they have 6 cards in hand. Like this is 2 cards and then 3 cards. All right, they take that first one. Maybe they have the counter event in their deck. It's looking like it. Maybe I should have just like not swung there. Yeah, probably should have just not swung there. I don't see a lot of them. Me personally, I don't run it, so I don't kind of expect it. Actually, I could have swung even bigger. I just realized, because I have the Nami out on the board. This was +5, so I got them to 10, 11. Yeah, if I had attached the 2-2, it would have been way less effective. Should have done that. Totally forgot about the Nami effect. I just try and defend this Luffy. I probably block the Linlin swing and then kind of just take everything at life. Yeah, I take this. I'll give 2 here because I can Charlestone the next Katakuri. I'll give you 1. And I have some counter in hand that I can use if they're like, oh, I'm going to, ooh, Doflamingo, what the heck? Which means these next swings hurt. I think I just do this. And I'll have to give up a 1k here to get out of this swing. Why can't I see it? I shouldn't be able to see my, that's a bug. So I guess I could like set them to 0 here. Counter out with a 2k. Actually, this Sanji might be necessary to go for game. Do I just take then? No, I'm going to use the Sanji to counter. Like I have a Dead Man's Game on top. Not necessarily the best play, but I don't want to go to 0. Get a Laboon up there, dang. Whole board gets restood. Just go like this. Play this. Rest these 2. Give it on to my leader. Need to leave 2 Don up, but the rest can just go face. I can get my opponent down to 0 here. I probably have game using Dead Man's Game. And then I can end, restand 3, and hopefully they have no way to turn off my 2 Namis. Like I can block a Linlin, block the Doflamingo, counter out of everything else probably. All right, I'll give 1 Don, and then Pearlstone, crashing a Luna to restand 3 more. They could technically Mamaragan. That's something I do have to worry about. So I have 2 blockers. They have 4 swings. I need to get out of 1 more. They have 6 more Don. Okay, I can counter. I can go to 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. So the question is then, do I just take this or do I block it? I think I do block this just because those final swings, no matter what they are, I should be able to get out of it. Yeah. Okay, that's what I was worried of. I needed to use one of the blockers. Now I need to survive 2 swings, which is a lot harder. Yeah, I think I'm just dead here. It really depends on what's in this life. Let's see. Yeah, I should have probably just blocked early with these Namis, but 10. Yep, not a thing. That's game. Yeah, I kind of expected this to be rougher. They're running Lightning Dragon. This is interesting. They got sauce in here. I think this Kamazo is pretty sick. Good card in the deck. Probably could have played that last turn a little bit better, but I do anticipate these like purple decks are going to counter RG Luffy. So if RG Luffy gets super popular, Katakuri will be really good. But if Katakuri is really good, I think Red Luffy's going to be pretty good. So it might be a little bit of a triangle meta, but we still have Nami to worry about and UG Luffy to worry about, which I think RG Luffy's going to have a good matchup into. So we'll have to see how the meta kind of ends up shaping up. I'm going to go do the deck reflection now though. All right, here's that deck list one more time. I do think if I had gotten this Luffy out into the 5 life leader, that is Katakuri, and in both of them, honestly, I got it out into the red Luffy. Getting them down faster with this Luffy, doing the math, I think is going to feel pretty good. So yellow and 5 life leaders, maybe this is something that should be prioritized. Matchup knowledge is going to be pretty important. I think when I was playing red-green Luffy, I think the only 5 life leader that was meta was purple and L. So something to be conscious about. Maybe I'm lacking on matchup knowledge. Maybe this deck just isn't going to be good. Maybe I played that last game bad, but I think the deck is going to be really fun. I'm definitely going to give it a chance. Although if you know me, I actually love Purple Katakuri. I don't think I've ever made a video on this channel for Purple Katakuri, but if you go back to my early videos, I was preaching to play Purple Katakuri in order to learn some fundamentals. So we'll see if we get one of those videos in the near future. Anyways, if you like this video, please consider giving it a like. If you watched this long and you really don't like the video, please give me some feedback in the comments. I'm always working on my content. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.